Celebrate this festive season with Adyar Anandabhavan Sweets and Snacks. For bulk orders, call 044 4233 3333. Visit our website www.aabsweets.com.
It was a challenge for me. If I would be able to see, Hindi is my language, I can do it easily. People in the southern industry don't take themselves too seriously, they take their work very seriously. I feel in Bollywood we take ourselves too seriously and work not that seriously. I feel that SK sir also, he has done so many parts where he was playing the friend himself. And today he is apparently, I've been told that he's been passed the baton to be the biggest guy in the Tamil film industry.
Hi, welcome to Cinema Express. We have with us Bhuvan Arora. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir.
First of all, congratulations on your new series, Wizard D, which is releasing on MX Player. And
please do watch it and tell me how you like it.
Yeah, definitely. And congratulations on your Tamil debut with Amaran, in which you're playing Vikram Singh.
Sepoy Vikram Singh.
Yes. Just to begin the talk, why don't you talk me through the process of how you landed this role in Amaran? Was it through an audition? Was it through an agent?
So I basically got a call from the casting director Taran that Rajkumar sir wanted to meet me. His name is on the poster. So he wanted to meet me and narrate a film to me, and I was like, I would be happy to. And I remember I was shooting, I think, all day long, and Rajkumar sir also had a couple of meetings. So we met at some 12 o'clock in the night.
Okay.
In Bombay. He had come to Bombay to narrate the film. I think he also wanted to meet a couple of other actors. I think Rahul Bose sir, because the entire cast needed to be locked. So he met me and he narrated the film. And we started to discuss, and I think 30 minutes down the line, we both realized that he is not in the condition to narrate and I'm not in the condition to hear because we were both sleep deprived. So we decided on the fact that we'll meet again tomorrow. Next day, where we can actually listen and we can actually narrate. So that's how it happened. He narrated me the film, and my father was in the army, and I feel that this was long due for me to do. And I wanted to dedicate a part of, my acting to him. So I dedicate Amaran to him.
So what made you choose a Tamil film? Was there any consideration before?
I don't really consider language. I feel it's just a barrier. Especially in today's day and age, in fact, it was a challenge for me. If I would be able to see, Hindi is my language, I can do it easily. But will I be able to do justice to a part if it's not my language? Although I remember back in the day, long back, I did a show which was in gibberish. So I feel that it's a challenge for an actor. And what is the beauty of the job if you have no challenges? So I took it as a challenge, and I felt that, I really will give it my 100%, which I tried to do. And everybody was very happy and cooperative on the set. From the day one, there was this energy, positivity that everybody was, sort of giving out. And it was like a magnet that pulled me towards the film.
Okay. So, after having worked in a Tamil film, and you've worked in Bollywood as well, what would you, say are the differences that you've noticed in the way things operate?
I don't think so. There is a stark difference as such. But I feel that... I think I said this before also, that people in Tamil industry, I don't really like this bifurcation because I feel that we are all one. But because for the lack of a better terminology, people in the southern industry don't take themselves too seriously. They take their work very seriously. I feel in Bollywood, we take ourselves too seriously and work not that seriously. So I think that this is something, it's like a switch that I felt that it's here, and everybody is a lot more relaxed. I feel everybody is a lot more close-knit here. And that's the only difference that I felt. Apart from that, there was no difference in terms of technicality, shooting, nothing was different.
Okay, I've heard that the timings are a bit, people start earlier here and
That depends on the schedule, honestly. So if we have to use the maximum daylight, then we would all start early. That happens in Bollywood also. I'm back in the day, there was a culture maybe for people to come late on set. I don't think so any of the younger generation does that anymore. In fact, we reached set before the call time now.
Okay. So this is about preparing for your role, right? I read in a place that Sivakarthikeyan went through a very strict regimen.
All of us.
Yeah, and he attended workshops. So what was your process like? Particularly, you're also a film institute alumni, so you'll have your own methods, right? So walk me through your process of
So
preparing.
I
for this
was
role.
actually fortunate enough to see a lot of army life with my father. So I was very familiar with the world. I studied in a defense school. So all my friends were defense kids. So I was very familiar with the whole world. In terms of the physical training, obviously we had to understand the whole shooting, how to shoot a rifle, how to hold a rifle, how to exactly, and we operate in buddies. So you have to be really coordinated with each other. So there was a full physical training that we went through, and I tried to brush my Tamil skills also a little before I went on set.
Do you have Tamil dialogues?
I have a lot of Tamil dialogues.
Okay.
In fact, I've dubbed for my part in Tamil.
Okay.
So that was my only mandate. I was like, I'm going to dub for myself this time. And yeah, that was it. So we did whatever preparation was needed for the film. But I feel that's our job. I don't really like to boast about it that I did. I locked myself up for 5 months and I did this. And I feel this is what we do and we have to do. And if it shows on screen, great. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But I think that's the joy of the job.
What's this buddy system that you're talking about?
So basically in army, there is the system of buddy pairs. You never really go for an operation alone. You go in a pair. So Major Mukund, which is SK Sir's character, and Sipahi Vikram, which is my character, they went in for a mission together. So there is this tagline that the camp has, and I actually have a picture which I'm hopefully going to use soon, that has this thing written, Mera buddy, mera bhai. So they have to be in sync with each other with everything. So like if you're both walking, you can't really point a gun towards the other officer. You have to be so careful and it needs to be so precise. And there's a certain grace in which officers do it. So we had to catch hold of that, and which is why the character became a lot more relevant in terms of the movie, because they live together and they die together.
Yeah.
So that's.
And was this training provided by military people?
Yes, sir.
In a
Yes,
military
sir.
environment?
Yes,
as well?
sir, very much.
Okay. What was that experience like? Because these are real guns that you might be holding.
For the practice period, we held the dummy guns,
Okay.
because you can't hand over ammunitions and guns to amateurs. Not even amateurs. I feel it's not very safe. Where it's not needed, I think we should stick to dummy things, and because end of the day, it's a weapon, and we should refrain from using it as much as we can. It's a very philosophical thought on that note, but we should refrain from using it. For the training purpose, we were using dummy guns, but when we got on set, we used a couple of real guns.
Okay, got it. So you're talking about this buddy system, right?
Mm-hmm.
So be it Farzi, be it Amaran, be it Chandu Champion, your role is that of that's kind of a camaraderie between someone else and you, right? So what exactly is this concept of chemistry, and like
Sir,
how
I
do
feel
you
in my life, romance is above romance. So I feel I deserve each and every role that I do, and I think I also attract such roles. But I feel it's just how you see it. I feel that if you do anything with, and that's how friends are in life, right? I feel that gone are the days where one person would only be there to pat the other person's back. Cinema is changing, we are evolving, and I feel that SK sir also he has done so many parts where he was playing the friend himself, and today he's apparently, I've been told that he's been passed the baton to be the biggest guy in the Tamil film industry. So I'm saying that the days have changed, and I feel that camaraderie, if people are liking and enjoying and connecting to it, and I actually got to know it much later after the show had released. I'm talking about Farzi here. That a lot of people loved it in Tamil language as well. So I called up the person who had dubbed for me. I arranged for his number from Rajkumar sir, and I said, "Can you arrange for the number?" And I called him up and I thanked him. I said, "Because of you, it's loved so much over here." So I feel that camaraderie is important. What is life? I feel if you don't have genuine friends in life, you have nothing. So I feel if I'm able to portray that on screen, I'm happy.
Okay, but is there a process that you've begun to follow with respect to approaching this kind of roles where they're camaraderie oriented? Are there things that you do? It could be interacting with the person before or during the shoot, or is it more of an organic process?
See, it depends on set to set. Sometimes you really hit it off on the first day. Sometimes it takes time for you to, sort of connect and, bond with your co-actor. Like my show today, where it's a camaraderie between two brothers, Fisaddi, that just releases today. There also, I started to connect with SK sir the day I met him because he's so warm. My family and his family would hang out together post the shoot. When it came to Farzi, Shahid Bhai was obviously a much bigger actor. So, and it was probably, that was my breakout show. So, I was also a little fresh and young and new. So, he sort of took from my energy and gave it back on screen. So, I feel it's different on different sets. But I've been lucky and I've been fortunate that, I've always gotten cooperative co-stars who've never really, sort of pulled me down or, tried to attempt, because I think everybody now understands that the better the camaraderie comes, the more people enjoy it. The more people enjoy it, the more people see it, the more people love it. And I think that's the end goal.
And speaking of Farzi, how exactly has your life changed after the breakthrough performance, which got you a lot of acclaim throughout the country?
I don't have to audition anymore. That's the biggest change. I feel there's a lot more choice that Farzi gave me post-release. It gave me the liberty to choose. Earlier, there is this phrase called beggars are not choosers. I was a beggar. Now I'm a chooser. I think that's the only difference, wonderful. And it's a big difference that Farzi brought in my life. And yeah, rest, I feel that you only can, select from what you're being offered. So I feel that liberty, to have that liberty, to get options to choose from, is beautiful for an actor, and I feel we all thrive and strive for it. So yeah, I got that after the release.
I saw a post where you dedicate this role for your father who served in the army, right?
Yes, sir. I'm actually wearing his watch today.
Oh, wow.
This watch belonged to my father and it's his watch. So because I was here for Amaran promos and I dedicated the film to my father, so I was like, I dedicate this to you, and this is like a memory.
Okay, fantastic. What are the things that, perhaps you took from his own experiences, from your experiences of interacting with him, seeing with him, that you brought into this role?
So he used to tell me a lot of army stories, and you can take an officer out of army, but you can't take army out of an officer. So long after he had retired also, he would reminisce and he would always be nostalgic about the time that he spent, which made me feel that this love and this passion and this bond that people who serve in the army, officers that serve in the army, have for the country and for the army. And it really made me feel that, you can actually reach a point in your thinking where you feel that, the nation is before my own life also. And that is some sort of, it's something that I saw in my father's eyes. He was he was a big patriot. He always, get very offended if anybody was wearing wrong costumes that had army costumes. Now, somebody had wrong stars going on. He get very offended. So he was very driven and passionate about, defense services and army and nation. So I think that I drew from him. The kind of passion he would tell the stories with, the kind of happiness I would see on his face whenever he would tell me the stories of the days when he was serving. Yeah, I took that from him, and a couple of tips here and there, that how to be around your seniors, how can you be nice to people. I don't know how much of it came in handy, but I think it'll surely come in handy in life.
Yeah, got it. Were you also made to read the source material, India's Most Fearless, which is
correct?
The book, acting as the were you also made to read that as part of your preparation?
Yes, we were made to read that. We were made to train. We were made to do whatever research. I was in fact even offered that if I could go and meet Sepoy Vikram Singh's family, but I feel I'll get too disturbed by the whole thing. So I refrained from that. And I was like, I have a little bit of army exposure and I'm going to use my own method to approach my character.
So, apart from your own personal experience of the army, were there any nuances that you tried to bring in, since you're also playing a real life character whose life has relatively been documented as compared to a fictional character?
Right.
What were the things that you brought in order to, represent this figure?
So you have to understand the chain of command first and foremost. You really have to understand that, what is the character thinking in his head. And this is not even a character. I feel, I'm really sorry. I'll have to take that back. I feel that what would Sepoy Vikram Singh be thinking So when you see the film, eventually you'll get to know. So I can't reveal much about it, but when I understood the whole, he just surrendered to the army. He just surrendered. He gave up his life, and I feel what can be a bigger sacrifice than that. So I feel that that sentiment that must be going through his head when he was actually in the mission where he was martyred. So I feel that I could feel it. I could feel that sentiment. I could feel that passion. And the minute we would wear that uniform, it sort of gave us that. So I unfortunately did not know him personally, but I saw whatever pictures I could get of him. And I read as much as I could in the book about him. So I tried to derive my character through it, and I hope when you see the film, it will come out. It will be very different from what you've seen before.
So there's this core sentiment of the character that you figure out, and then you use that to
that I
drive your
feel is the most
performance.
important thing. Other things are just ornamentation.
Okay.
Core sentiment is most important for me as an actor.
And is this an approach that you follow for your?
Not
other
for
roles
all
as well?
parts. Every part requires you to have different approaches. Sometimes it's the music that hits you. Sometimes you see an animal and you think that this could be a really interesting character if this animal was a human being. And sometimes it's an AD on the set. You just look at them and you're like, I used to mimic all the ADs on set. They hate me. They hate me, and not in like serious hate way, but I have this habit of pulling pranks, and I have this habit of fooling around on set. And yeah, I used to
Pulling pranks isn't just messing around, joking.
Yeah, just messing around, just to make things lighter on set, because it's a heavy film. Yeah, it's a lot of action, it's a lot of serious drama. So I feel that whenever we were fortunate enough to have some empty time, I would try to lighten it
So
up.
that's a bit of your Farzi character in your.
I am
in
generally
your offset.
also a happy person. I like to keep people around me happy, and I feel it's a good thing only. There's nothing wrong with it. So I would try to do it. We would joke around. SK sir also is damn. He was a stand-up comic back in the day. So he's really funny. He just doesn't joke around a lot with everybody. But with me, he would joke around because all our scenes are together. Most of the films we are together only. So we would joke a lot with each other, and we actually had a lot of heartfelt conversations also. But yeah, anyways, coming back to the character point of view, sometimes it's just the AD on set, or sometimes it's I remember. Okay, so I'll tell you what. When I was studying in FTI, Kamal sir had come to take a class.
Okay, and this was back in.
This was back in 2010, I think.
Okay.
So he had come to take a class, and we were talking to him. And he said that you can actually find mannerisms, gestures, characters from anywhere. So this is the exact example that he gave me. I'm going to demonstrate that again. He said that when I was coming to the Film Institute from the airport, I couldn't find the way. And that was not really the time when Google Maps was really a thing. So he said I had to get my window down and ask an auto rickshaw driver, where is the Film Institute? So he was just sitting like this, and I asked him, "Bhaiya, ye Film Institute kidhar padega?" And he just did. He didn't say a word, but his body language and all that, he's like, this gesture I found very beautiful. I'm going to use it later. So that sort of stayed with me. So now whenever I go, I sort of observe people. I have this terrible habit of keep seeing what people are doing, how they're sitting, how they're talking, what are the mannerisms, how much are their eyebrows moving. So I love doing that, and I try to, use that in my performances.
Would you say acting is a form of mimicking the character that's been written in the script, or would you say it's bringing your
Mimicking
own
would,
thing?
on a very superficial level, mimicking I feel is a very superficial thing, because you just change the voice and maybe the body language. But I feel, it's very deep mimicking, where you actually mimic the soul of a person, or you mimic the characteristics of a person. So, and mimicking usually is used to, generate humor. It's a lot more dense, I feel, acting is. But in a very limited fashion, yes.
Okay. So your role in Fuzzy is more loose, while if you're playing an army man, it's supposed to be more rigid. Your body language is more stiff and everything, right? So talk me through the process of be it preparing through these workshops or otherwise as well.
So
How
my
do you
first
learn that
thing,
body language?
So my first thing is to not do what first comes to you instinctively.
Okay.
So because that's the most cliched thing, because we also as human beings and as actors are, used to certain conditioning. We've also seen movies, we've also felt that army officers are supposed to be like this, they talk in a certain way, they walk in a certain way, but it's actually not like that. Because my own father was an army officer, he would laugh. He would crack jokes. He would do everything that you don't really see in, movies. When we see the movies, army people or any people for that matter, you would probably depict an Air Force pilot in a certain way, an army officer in a certain way, or a gangster in a certain way for that matter. So I feel that whatever comes to me as like my first instinct, I will never do that. Because that is something that would probably be the most cliched thing out there. Because I've also, I've been like a huge cinema fan all my life. There's cinema in my veins, I feel. So I also feel that, this is probably I must have seen somewhere, which is why it's coming to me. So I will not do that. I will go in deeper. I will find, what are the possible ways of not doing it. And then I would try to convince myself to do those things.
Okay. So it's literally getting out of your comfort zone.
So yeah, it's an anti-approach. Yeah, it's an anti-approach. So don't try to whatever, because actors have this very bad habit. Whenever you get the scene, you start to act instantly. And when we were starting in FTI, a lot of good teachers, great teachers told us that, that's the worst thing an actor can do. To start instantly. You really need to sit through, read through and, find your things.
Okay. I'm just out of curiosity, there are also roles of stars where they're also playing an extension of their own characters, right?
Right.
So does that reach a point where you're just supposed to be yourself on screen, or
see, I feel every character would come from you only. You can't, if people say that I became the character, you never really become the character. So if you're doing a killing scene, then actually murder somebody, you become the character. No? That never really is going to, I'm sure you've heard it before also. So you never really become somebody. Yeah, we as human beings have a lot of different shades. Then we actually acknowledge ourselves. So you have to find that shade inside you, and you probably have to make it the most dominant one. You have to prioritize that, and you have to operate in a certain fashion. So you ask yourself, I have a good 120 questionnaire. So I answer that whenever I approach a character, which is,
120 questions.
Yeah, 120 questions. And that has some really mundane questions.
Could you give me examples of?
For an example, it had questions like, what is the favorite color of the character and why? So I like a certain color because, of certain reasons. What is your favorite food? What is the thing that you feel that you hate the most as a character? What is your super objective in life? What is your objective in the scene? What is your most traumatic memory? Not mine, the characters, the background, a lot of other things. So it goes from really complex questions to really normal questions. Because not all questions can be complex and not all questions
Probably
can
the
be
normal questions make you understand the character better.
Exactly. So when you start to answer the normal questions, you'll reach to the complex questions eventually. So that's a certain approach that I follow. But I do understand and I do feel that all the characters would germinate from you only. And somebody who says that, I became somebody else altogether, I think it's a very hard goal, and it's very rare scenarios where we actually get parts where we need to do that. I'm hoping that one day in my life, I will reach a point where I will have to become somebody else altogether and be somebody I'm absolutely not. But I don't think so. It's a very frequent scenario out there.
Questionnaire thing is a very interesting approach to just get into the mind of a character.
It really works.
It's probably like interviewing a fictional person.
Yeah. It really works. But do you actually ask yourself these questions? If I ask you out of 120 questions, I'm saying that more than half of them, you would have never really thought of them yourself
so
only.
When I answer those 120 questions,
Right.
I might end up understanding myself better, right?
Right.
And so when that happens for you, why can't that happen for a character?
Exactly. So is there what is your most prized possession? Why is it that? We never really go that deep. So one of our teachers in FTA also told us that, we spend so much time with ourselves. This is the thing that, does most of your job in the world, right? You eat with this, you clean with this, you do everything with your hand. But have you really ever looked at your hand? If I tell you to paint a imaginary picture of your hand, would you be able to do it? And most of the people said, no, I don't think so. I'll be able to really make my hand on paper. But he said, you spent 30 years of your life with this. And this is how how ignorant we are as people. We never really ask ourselves anything. We never really dig deep into ourselves. So I feel first you dig deep into yourself, find the characters that you can potentially generate from yourself. Then you switch to things that you don't have within you. So I'm saying that the person needs to exploit themselves first before they exploit other characters.
Okay, got Now coming to the action scenes in Amaran, what was the process like of rehearsing, shooting them when it comes to combat scenes?
It was very demanding, and not just combat. It was a lot of choreography that needed to be done because there were a lot of shooting and blasts and everything, and it's all being shot in a way that sometimes we only had one take to go. So we really had to be prepared, and we really had to be on the edge. We had to give it 100%, and that's how it was going. But I really enjoyed action for some reason. I really find it very thrilling, and I would be very adamant about the fact that I want to do all my action myself. I don't want to use a body double. Where it's absolutely necessary, there only please use. Otherwise, I would want to do all my action. And it was draining. But then what's the fun of the job? If you just want to sit in a comfortable chair and mouth lines, then there's no fun. So you come on set, where else will I get to jump from a 20 feet wall? I'll have to pay for these things, right? I'm getting paid here to do all of this. I'm like, the child within me is alive and I want to do all those things. I find it very, very interesting.
So it's been more than a decade since Shuddh Desi Romance, which was
Right.
one of your earliest appearances.
This is my debut film.
Yeah. How has Bhuvan Arora changed? What are the things that he would have done back then that he wouldn't be doing right now? What are the learnings?
What are the things? I think I wouldn't really change anything. Anything about my life, I wouldn't really. I feel that what I've become today is because of what has happened in my life and how I've operated. I do feel that I had this habit because I love to make people laugh and I love to joke about things. I had this habit back in the day, and I would like to advise myself, the old Bhuvan, that before you say anything to anybody, just think about it once, because I had this problem called verbal diarrhea.
Okay.
So which is actually I ended up hurting a lot of people. I ended up joking about things I probably shouldn't have joked about, because we didn't really know that things can be sensitive for other people. So the only advice I would probably give myself is that joke, be as jovial, be the jester of the room, do whatever you feel like. Just think twice and do it.
Okay. And what are the learnings with respect to acting as a profession?
The learnings that I've done is that nothing is permanent. Of course, you must have heard a lot of people saying it, but nobody really imbibes it. I've really tried to imbibe it. So I saw this interview of Tom Hanks, in which he said that this too shall pass. You're having the worst day of your life, it'll pass. You're having the best day of your life. You're the biggest superstar in the country. This will also pass. So everything is temporary here. Don't take too much. Don't take it too hard. Nothing is permanent here, and not everybody can be your friend. Not everybody can be your enemy. You're a very small part of this universe. Stay that.
Yeah, great. So you've been shuttling over multiple projects at the same time throughout the country. How has this been? How have you managed your time?
I love it. I love it. I was dying to do this. But yeah, I love it here. I've sat idle enough in my initial days in Bombay. So I don't really miss that anymore, honestly. I love being busy, and I hope it stays like that.
And so Amaran is a Diwali release.
Yes, it's a big Diwali release.
Diwali releases are the biggest event in Kollywood, right?
I've just been told by a gentleman.
Yeah. So what's your plans to watch the movie? Like, will you?
I never watch the film before it releases or the day it releases. I now of late have started to refrain from going for premieres also, because I feel that I lose my objectivity. I can't really see it the way. So today I've still not seen Fisadi. It's released. So I plan to watch it maybe tomorrow or tonight, whenever I find time. So I don't really rush into it because I have to control. Because this is where you start to get attached too much to your projects. But Diwali is a festive season. Everybody else is in the festive mood. So am I. But I am traveling. I'm going to come back and I'm going to watch the film. I think I'll probably catch it 2 or 3 days post-release.
A break after all the...
Yeah, after everything has settled down, when the thunder and the storm has settled down, then I'll sit and I'll actually see the film how it should be seen, and not being influenced by whatever everybody else is saying.
And what are your upcoming projects?
So I'm doing a lot of interesting work. I have 2 web shows lined up. One's called Dupahiya, which is on Prime Video, and the other one's called Tatkal. Another show of mine, which we obviously spoke of already, has released today. And I'm currently shooting for 2 more projects. I'm not at the liberty. I can tell you off camera. But yeah, I can't talk much about it right now.
Is there a future in Tamil cinema also that you're looking
I
at?
hope so. I hope so. I really enjoyed myself, and I feel that I really did not really find any difference. I really hope, though. I really hope that Amaran does well and people watch it and I get more opportunities, because a lot of good scripts are coming from Tamil film industries. I was just talking about Maharaj that I just saw, and I found it to be a beautiful, beautiful film. And if I have the opportunity of getting a good script in Tamil, then why not? Yeah, I'll be blessed. I'll be grateful.
Yes, thank you so much for this.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.